Iran is recovering from the damage caused by US and Israeli strikes. The country has been witnessing daily pro-government demonstrations on the streets of major cities. People are showing a united front in this difficult time. Iran has launched a campaign as well called Janfada, which is a call to sacrifice life for the country. Nearly 30 million people have registered for the self-sacrifice. These include the country's top officials like Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, who posted about his participation on X. Thousands of Iranians are hitting the streets with the country's flags and pledging their allegiance to the Islamic Republic. In fact, one such event took place in the city of Tabriz, where people thronged to the streets during a parade displaying Iran's Shahid drones. The suicide drone remains a crucial part of Iran's military response to American and Israeli attacks. The scenes were similar in Isfahan as well, where American troops landed during the rescue operation of an F-15E Strike Eagle pilot. The site now serves as a monument of victory for many Iranians. In fact, people have posed for a picture with the destroyed US military aircraft there. America claims to have destroyed the planes, in fact, to avoid Iran from accessing critical technology, while Iran claims that the planes were destroyed by them. Iran's show of unity, remember, comes after the American president claimed that Iran has no leadership and hardliners and moderates are fighting among themselves. A Trump statement had triggered sharp response from the very top of the Iranian leadership, from President Masoud Pezeshkian to the IRGC chief. Everyone started putting out a message of unity. All right, let me welcome my guests on the broadcast. I'm joined by John Rosamando. He's the president of the Viking Research Associates, beg your pardon. He's a geostrategist and expert on national security. John, good evening. Welcome to WION. Can I start by asking you how you see this sharp contrast, this very stark contrast between how Iran is operating in its challenging time and how America seems to be operating? On the one hand, you've got Iranian unity being displayed again and again. On the other hand, you've got America and the Trump administration, which is dealing with its own domestic challenges and reports of infighting coming to the fore again and again.
Well, let's put it this way. Iran is a totalitarian state, so everything that you see in its state media should be taken as propaganda. Let's not forget that there are 90 million Iranians, and if you have like 10% or something like that who are supporting the regime, or its cadres and supporters out in the streets, that doesn't represent all Iranians. Let's not forget the 40,000 Iranians who rose up in January and were massacred, and over 100,000 who were injured, and thousands others who have been executed. So I think that there are very strong power struggles within the Iranian regime for who's in charge. I mean, the IRGC is really running things, and the political leadership knows to better follow the IRG's toe or else.
John, I absolutely get your point when you say that this doesn't represent the entirety of Iran. It represents a large portion of the country. But do you not think that this large portion of the country has been able to dominate not just the battleground, but the narrative as well, considering the fact that regime change clearly hasn't really happened within Iran, something that Donald Trump talked about again and again?
Well, I think that, it shows that, they're the ones with the guns. As Mao Zedong famously said, power flows through the barrel of the gun. So, we haven't seen any real evidence that the Trump administration has worked to create a counter opposition that is equally armed and able to protect itself from the IRGC. I mean, you had early reports that the Israelis wanted to work with the Kurds. That got out of the press. And it went sideways. So I think that one of the problems we're dealing with in Washington is you have a division between the isolationists who don't want to be involved in this at all, and the hawks who want to finish off the regime. And President Trump is trying to please everybody.
All right. So let's see how this moves forward. John, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us on WION
Thank
at
you.
the moment.